Okay, I'm just waiting. Decided I would do some live lessons on how to read tarot for anybody that wants to know. Anybody. Doesn't matter. No cost. Just if you're bored, want to listen to someone, listen to no one. I mean, it's up to you if you want to talk, but just going to split these up just a bit to have them all kind of shuffled together while we're waiting. I just want to see if we get anybody else on here. But I'm going to start going through these cards. And then people come and they could just go through it, okay? But I think we're going to start with, what should I start with first? I think we're going to start with one of the minor. And we'll go forward with the whole, and we'll go over the process and we'll see what happens next. Can you please not go on my cards right now? Right now, I'm not going to be talking to you tonight. I don't, please don't open those curtains. Please do not open those curtains. So basically, you guys, when you're reading tarot, you do listen to your intuition. You do have to open that part up, and that is something that we, we'll definitely go over. But people think that tarot is demonic, or it's you can't tell the future. Oh, tarot's not really meant to tell the future. Tarot's more about learning how to understand what parts of your life is lacking and what can you work on, and understanding how you can fix certain things in your life and make it better so you can actually succeed. I mean, tarot is not really as negative as people seem to like to make it. And that's the part where it gets kind of hard with to deal with certain things. They're going to start with swords first. Swords is about air. Okay, it's about mental. It's about so when you see a sword, you tend to you'll one of the first things you'll think is this applies to an air sign. Air signs are Gemini, Aquarius, Libras, and air sign people tend to be very much in their head. Don't really take much action towards things. They tend to hold back a lot. Would rather stay in their head than go after what they love or who they love. I'm not saying all air signs are, because sometimes it also has to do with where your Venus is. Venus. Sorry, I say Venus. It's kind of funny. So let's go ahead and talk about these cards, okay? And let's just go over it, and then we'll proceed. And then, I think I'm just going to start having these classes, and then that way you guys just come and play it back and start learning it. When you deal with the Ace of Swords is a new beginning. Okay, all aces are always new beginnings, but this is a new beginning, either a new thought. It could be a change of thought. Okay, when it's upright, okay, even if it's upside down, okay, it's still a new beginning. Sometimes it just depends on how other cards are playing. But if you notice, this is the divine with holding a sword with a crown, and it's kind of just it's just sitting there and hovering right above the plains and above the blue water. And basically it's just saying there's a new beginning in some sort of see how I say this. So it's a new thought, a new idea. There you go, a new idea. All right, a new way of doing things, something different. To you could change certain things about your life with this. If you're like, oh man, what do I have? How can I change my life? Well, the Ace of Swords tells you start thinking. Okay, now if it's upside down, okay, so maybe you're thinking too much, or maybe you're not really seeing the whole picture. There's always a reason for everything, and the spiritual, and our what's so funny is when I first started this, I went and I had a reading with my friend Tareen, and she told me she has classes, and she's an attorney that I know, and she does these, and she's an amazing tarot reader. And I told her, I said, I want to learn how to read tarot and stuff, and so she let me learn. And I used to take her classes. I took them for a whole year before I started reading for people, and even at that, I was so nervous, because how do I know if I'm right? Well, one day I was laying in bed and they woke me up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they told me raise up, and they told me that there's a the I can't even pronounce the name, but it's the records, and the Akasaic, or I forgot what the name of the records are, but it's basically where the divine is. And they had said, imagine blue plasma, and they presented me with this image, and they said, imagine your crown growing into this plasma, and that's where you're going to get everything that you need to know what we're telling you. And they're gonna, and then they start telling, and so that's when my spirit guide said, you're gonna have to, and that's about my first interaction with the spirit guide. And then from that point forward, I started reading these cards, and I stopped just seeing a sword with a crown. I started seeing the why. What is the purpose of a crown? What's the purpose of a sword? That has nothing to do with it. It's more into intuition. It's learning, right? The next one's a two swords. Two swords about decisions. It's about someone who's refusing to make decisions. Sitting there, hands not bound, with some sort of a like covering their eyes, not ready to make a decision, don't want to make a decision. Like I said, swords always apply around Geminis, Libras, and Aquarius, and they are it just depends on where they're sorry, my mom texted me. Let me just all right. So the Two of Swords is usually about choices, decisions. Okay? When you pull the Two of Swords, it's telling you that you have a choice, but you're afraid to make it. Well, if she takes off her freaking blindfold, puts the swords down, and looks, she can make a better choice, but she's refusing to see what's behind her, and so she chooses to sit in isolation, right? But the Two of Swords is just all up in your mind. It just means it's a mental conflict. That's all it means. Three of Swords is exactly what it looks like. It's heartbreak. It is heartbreak. Oh wait, yeah, I didn't do the reverse. The reverse one on this one, you guys, is they're finally making a decision. They're finally going to make the decision. They're going to take the blindfold off. They're going to put the swords down, and they're going to see the truth of the situation. Just so you know. All right, Three of Swords. Heartbreak. All right. A lot of times we especially when we deal with our tower moments. Tower moments are things that we don't expect, and it hurts us. And oftentimes it puts us in a position to, be in a position to cry all the time. And we and I've been here. We've all dealt with heartbreak at some point. And basically, this is Three of Swords. This is someone who tried so hard to make something work, and yet the person still hurt them. All right. Now, if it's reverse, it means they're dealing with the heartbreak. They're working through it, and they're ready to face what is going on. And that's kind of what a Three of Swords means. Four of Swords. If you look, this guy, he's sitting there in yellow. And by the way, knowing the colors and what these colors represent does make a difference. So you're going to want to learn colors and how they represent anything. Okay, and red's passion, green's money, blue is healing, purple is spiritual. What else I miss? Black is protection. White is I forget what white is, but just learn the colors, okay, as you're learning these tarot cards. But the Four of Swords is someone who's contemplating. He's very much stuck in his head, and he doesn't know which way to go, and so he's just sitting there. He's laying on this coffin with the sword here, and these are his choices. He's laid this one down. He's realized these did not work out, so he's thinking about his three options. He doesn't know which way to go. And you look right here, if you see the window with the gosh, what do you call those windows? Forgot. But God, the mosaic windows, I think is what you call them. But you see a mother with a child here, right? But then you see this guy here laying here, and it's just options. It's just being stuck in your head. He's not really dead, okay? But you see a mom and a child there, and he's thinking about them. He's thinking about things that didn't work out to his what he wanted. He's thinking about, all the failures he has in his life, and that's fine. You can be in this position. You're going to do this at some point in time. You're going to realize you really fucked up on something. But what you don't understand is, you messed up, but you still have these three options. You're not really limited to changing the course of your life. You can change your life for the better. So always remember that when you're seeing a Four of Swords. Four of Swords does not mean you're just stuck there and nothing's done. It means that you have options. Five of Swords. Okay, if you see this guy's right here, he's holding he's got two swords in one hand and one in another, and these two are looking defeated, right? He's got this smug look on his face. Did I do the reversal on that one? I don't remember. Anyways, we'll worry about reversals another time. This guy's looking all smug. Okay, this is someone who betrayed another person or a couple of people. It's definitely mental. Okay, it's definitely a certain level of betrayal. And now it doesn't necessarily mean that seeing this card means it's betrayal. All cards are read together as a group. Never do you ever just read one card and think that's the only meaning, because it's never like that. There's always more, and I always use my pyramid spread a lot because it gives me more detailed look into another individual's life. Six of Swords is about moving into calmer waters. Also, and I've always found it for me, it tells me there's communication coming. But it also tells me they're moving into calmer waters. Things are kind of, hectic. They didn't really have that much luck with what they tried. They tried to do some things, it didn't work out. And so they've just, this is the husband, the wife, and the child, and they've just decided to relocate, to move on to a different land, or to move on for saying it didn't really work out to their favor. And that's, just so you guys know, just because I read it a certain way doesn't mean other readers do. We're all different, we're all unique, and we're all good. Just remember that. Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is about deception. It's about theft. I get this card a lot. I don't know why. Usually when you get this card, it could be a lot of things. You could be deceiving yourself. You could be deceiving the people that you're involved with. You could be, sometimes it's more mental. We think that's, it could be a more of a mental card. It could just be like you think someone's stealing from you, they're not. Or it could be that someone is stealing from you and they're being dishonest. A lot of times, this to me is a very deceptive card. This guy thinks he got away with something. He got away with it. And he's running with his swords. Okay, he's getting away. Right? But it's not always the case, just so you know. Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is about fears. Eight of Swords is about being stuck in your head about something and not making a choice. It's similar to a Two of Swords, but this is just a little bit more, because now you've tried more than one thing, but now you're stuck in fear. You're afraid that these swords are going to cut you. So you sit there blindfolded, tied up, afraid to make a move, afraid to move around, afraid to change something. Eight of Swords is about fears. It really is. Nine of Swords is about being stuck in your head, staying up all night, thinking about something, overthinking. Don't ever do that, by the way. It's not good. If you do, you're extending yourself, you're extending your energy, and you're going to need a meditation for it, just so you know. Okay? Nine of Swords is definitely about mental conflict. It's just, it is what it is. It's mental conflict. It's about, thinking about it. A lot of it could be about love, because if you see roses on his blanket, sorry, not blanks, blanket. I can't even say the word blanket right now. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are going on. People generally get this card when they've just got so much shit going on right now that they are about to give up and they don't know if they can actually move forward. Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is about, the worst has happened. Things have ended. Things are over. Things are done. First is over. Now a rebirth can happen. All right. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's untimely death. Just so you know, tarot cards can never tell you when you're going to die. Ever. I don't care what people say. I don't like it when people tell me when I'm going to die because, sorry, you can't predict when you're going to die. We're not the Grim Reaper. And some people do that, and that's fine if they feel comfortable, but I don't want to know when I'm going to die. I'd rather keep it very simple and very sweet. This is mental. This is a mental death. This is the end of a cycle. This is a conflict cycle. The Ten of Swords is the end of a conflict cycle. This guy's done. He's been stabbed in the back multiple times. He's been betrayed, right? This is the result of all of these cards, all these fears, deception, trying to move on, betrayal, okay, heartbreak, decisions. This comes because you didn't fix this. Everything starts, right? Everything starts for a reason. Everything. I don't care what anybody says. You get an idea, but you sit there. You don't want to do anything but the idea. So you sit there and you stress about it, right? But then you're not doing anything about it, so therefore you're heartbroken. And now you're just adding more to the molehill than there really was. And then now you feel just like you can't do it because everybody else is doing it, right? Well, this is the way you can look at tarot, by the way. Six of Swords. Oh my gosh. I've put everything I can. I'm done. I'm moving on. Oh my gosh. Someone stole my idea. Now I'm living in fear. I don't want to move. I don't want to do anything. And this is what happens. So when you don't take care of problems in your life, it gets worse. Nine of Swords. It gets worse. Ten of Swords. So this is usually the start of a cycle. Something new. A new idea. And this is the end of a cycle. Ten of Swords, you're done. Right? So a lot of times you can also do readings with where people's cycles are. Always a fun thing to do. But when we're dealing with swords, remember swords is mental. It's definitely mental. Some of these cards have a black background. Some have yellow. Some have blue. Some have gray. All right? Colors are everything. Numerology is everything. All right? You want to study up on colors, numerology, different symbols. There's always going to be different symbols here. There's always going to be something that you have to look at. There's a castle here in the background. This is a bed. This is someone who made a lot of mistakes. Now they're, I don't know, what is it? Make your bed and lay in it too, or kind of thing. I guess you could say. But just remember this. When things get out of hand, you don't follow up with things, you don't take care of responsibility. This happens, right? This happens and things progress. And that's exactly what tarot cards are. Tarot cards is a problem that grew bigger and 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 bigger until it became too much. And then that was the end of it. And they're like, you know what? These are all your lessons that you didn't fix it back here. It's like you knew the problem. This is an idea. This is a thought. This is something like it's like, this could be something to the point of so I started this guy and I knew he was bad for me. I didn't do anything about it because he threatened me. All right. He threatened to ruin my life if I broke it off with him. So I stayed with him, afraid to move. I was so afraid to move anywhere. He said that if I broke it off with him, he was going to make sure I lost my job, I lost my family, I lost my home. And so I believed him. And I was heartbroken because of it, because I was stuck in a very strong vindictive cycle that I couldn't get out of. All right. And I became very depressed, drawn from everybody, and I literally withdrew. I withdrew from everybody. I moved away from a lot of things. I became very isolated, alone. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know, he was off telling all these gossip stories about me, created a lot of chaos in my life. Um, and I lived my life in fear. I really did. And that's how these cards talk to you, right? Then here I am, right? Sitting there trying to make a plan, planning something, realizing that because I didn't take care of responsibility, it festered into this huge blown up karmic cycle that I didn't want to be in. All because I chose not to do something about something that I knew about, right? Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is the end of a cycle. These are all of the things that happened to me that I chose not to do anything about because I was too stuck up in my head to do anything. I knew about it, but I didn't do anything. And so because of that, that's what happens, right? So tarot cards is something like that. Okay, it always starts, and if you really think of it, all these cards are the beginning of a cycle and the end of a cycle. Each deck, each part of the deck, the wands, everything. Okay, there's always a positive and a negative to all these cards, so always remember that. So let's go ahead and go on to the wands. Okay. Let's see here. Let's just get these in order, and then we'll go over the stories again, bring over the meanings, and then I'll show you how they all apply. All right, Ace of Wands. This is a new opportunity. Wands is about career. Wands is fire sign, Sagittarius, Leo. Gosh, why am I having trouble? Sagittarius, Leo, and what was the third one? Hang on, it'll come to me. It will come to me eventually. Leo, Sagittarius. Why am I having issues? It's not Pisces. Pisces is water. Why am I having issues with remembering the third fire sign? Sagittarius, Leo, Aries. Gosh, Aries. You think I would know that? I was married to a freaking Aries. Drive me bonkers, by the way. I'll never marry an Aries again. Fire signs are, fire signs and earth signs, at least for me, don't get along. I'm an earth sign, and, fire burns earth, and it just doesn't apply. And so it was more of him taking off and cheating on me instead of taking care of responsibility. So that's why I refused to ever date another fire sign. So Ace of Wands is about a new opportunity. Opportunities could be anything. It could be a career. It could be a new idea. So remember, this right here is a new idea, right? But it could be an opportunity for a new idea. See how these apply. See how these can actually, go hand in hand. You've got one here, which we're talking about mental, but then here, this applies to fire. This applies to emotions. Wands are emotions because fire is emotion. So with that being said, this is about a new opportunity being presented to you, being given to you on a silver platter. Something new, something starting, something beginning. If you notice, we have some leaves blossoming, some are falling. It can also mean somewhere around the fall. We'll talk about timing another time. Timing's kind of difficult, just so you know. Two of Wands is about him making his choice. He made his choice, right? So here, remember, this guy couldn't make a choice, but this one's like, you know what? I want to choose this emotional project that I want to choose, that I want to focus on. So therefore, he has his life in his hands, his new beginning, and he's going for it. He made his choice. He put this choice in the back burner. He realized, I'm going to go forward with this one, and that's what I want to do. That's the direction I want to go, right? Three of Wands. Once again, remember fire, emotions. Remember, so he's got his three of Wands there, and he's waiting for something. Some people say it's waiting for your ships to come in, waiting for something new to start, waiting for your because obviously he made his choice, right? So now he put his seeds down, and he's waiting for things to solve. But yet, the Three of Swords, remember, is about heartbreak. But because he made the choice, he was able to avoid the Swords, right? So always remember that these cards talk to each other. They do. They all correspond with each other. They all talk. Wands is more about happiness, about opportunity, about things being done. Okay, because that means you got out of your head and you decided to follow your heart. Four of Wands. Four of Wands is an 11-11 symbol. Sometimes it is about a divine counterpart. It's about celebration. Okay, it could be about unions, marriages, office network parties. Okay. It could mean so many different things. It does not necessarily apply to just work. It could be emotional. It could be something that you've accomplished, right? But it's always a positive card to have. And there's, this is a castle, and they're having a celebration. Everybody's happy. People are all decked out, and then their finest clothing. They've got everything hung. They're abundant. They're free. It's kind of what it means. Five of Swords. Five of Swords is about conflict. Okay? By the way, Five of Swords happens, right? You've noticed 5-5 is about conflict. It's about change. The reason is conflict forces change. So when like sometimes people tell you, "Oh, go stand up for yourself," but yet they won't do it. Go figure. Or you cause something because you're like, look, you know what? I don't see this guy. He's like, no, I don't appreciate this. We're not going to go through with this. This is me standing my ground to you guys. And they're all like, yeah, I'm standing my ground too. It's about conflict. Everybody's standing their ground and they're shouting. Okay, that's one possible description of this card. Another one is they're all joining forces, they're all getting together, and they're about to ready to go take on, whatever they have to do together. Could be a team player card description on this one, okay? Could be a new opportunity to converse as a team, right? And that does not belong there. Sorry about that. Six of Wands. Six of Wands is about celebration. It means that, hey, you know what? I stood my ground, and now I can actually rejoice in my accomplishments. I am an accomplished person. And succeed and progress. That means a lot of it is just about, again. Okay, so that's kind of what that means. Seven of Wands, right? Seven of Wands is about fighting off the competition. Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. Seven of Wands is about fighting until your last breath in some ways. I mean, it's your if you notice, he's up here and all these swords are down there. It's about fighting. It's about standing your ground. It's about not giving up. It's about succeeding after. It's about victory after an argument, right? It's a victory. It's a victory after these arguments, after the celebration. But then it's like, oh no, they're coming back for more. So that's kind of what's going on here. Eight of Wands usually has something to do with a lot of people apply it towards fast communication. If they're expecting something fast to happen, something quick, it's definitely a quick, depending on where it stands. Eight of Swords, if you notice here, Eight of Swords is about sitting stationary, status quo, afraid to make a decision. But the truth is, guess what? This guy made a decision. They went forward, and now they're going all for it. They're not giving up. And this is usually a fast communication, especially if there's some swords around it. Okay. Nine of Wands is about you've completed your battles. It's all about picking your battles. You don't want to go and pick the wrong battle, because not all battles are worth fighting. They just aren't. Sometimes some battles are meant to be left alone, and others are meant to be fought for. It really depends on what you choose, what's best in your life. And in all honesty, sometimes to me, this also tells me about someone who's standing here protecting his values. I am so sorry. I just heard something. It scared me. I don't know what that is. Weird. It's got chills. Anyways, this can also be about someone who is, protecting their values, being defensive, saying, you know what, this is all I worked hard for. You're not going to get any of this, right? This is them going forward like, no, I'm protecting what I worked hard for. Okay. It also has to do with when people are talking to you and they're telling you how to believe. Well, this is about you. This is your beliefs. You could say, no, I want to believe this way, right? Goes along with this. Mental conflict, right? But he's just saying, look, I know what I know. I know what I want. And I'm going to fight for it. Right? Ten of Wands is about heavy burdens. This guy got tired of fighting for his values. He picked them all up and he starts walking with them, not realizing how heavy they were. It's about being burdened by all of your responsibility. Some people just have a lot of responsibilities. Some people just have and so it's hard for them to see it before them. And I keep hearing things, you guys. It creeps me out. So that's kind of what the wands mean. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to the next one, which is the cups. I didn't mean to leave the knight there. All right, let's go ahead, find the ace of cups. 8, 4, 10, 3, 7, 2, 9, 6, 5, that's 10, 8, 9, I think they're all here. So once again, remember, Ace of Swords. Okay, so just Ace of Swords. Listen to me here. Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups is about, cups are emotion, are for water signs. Okay, Scorpio, Pisces, and what was the other? Scorpio, Pisces. What is the other water sign? Why am I having trouble remembering these signs for? What is it? Pisces? Scorpio? Well, I'm sorry. I'm just drawing a blank. But anyways, we'll worry about what they apply to later. Not a big deal. Cups is about overflowing emotions. This bird here is like, you know what? I'm going to give you some more. I'm going to give you some substance, or it's coming in. It's a dove. Dove is usually about love. Dove is about a spiritual progression. Dove is definitely the divine giving you a cup of love. This is usually a divinely guided romance or a divinely guided, passionate job. Or, it can apply to the wands, which is, remember, opportunities, or the swords, about maybe you can see some water with some swords, and it can mean that it's overflowing of mental conflict going on. But this is usually about emotions. Okay, it's about someone presenting you with a new relationship as a new beginning. This is usually, when you see an Ace of Cups, it means there is a new relationship starting. Okay. Now, Two of Cups. When you have this one and you have this one, it means these two basically listened to divine and said, yeah, we're gonna go forward and we're gonna go talk and we're gonna exchange cups, exchange emotions, and we're gonna tell each other how we feel. Instead of them staying here, right? New idea, okay? They went forward. They didn't worry about the Two of Swords. Because if she had stayed in this Two of Swords, she never would have met him. Mental conflict, it can actually be a very negative thing. Because it stops you from progressing to where you need to be. Just so you know. So with that being said, it's usually a union of your divine counterpart or a new relationship starting. Three of Cups. Three of Cups is about celebrations, but it can also be a party situation. It could be that maybe this guy had a couple other women on the side. Some people do that. Sometimes a woman has a couple women on the side. You never know. But it can also be about celebration, okay? About things, about harvest. If you notice there's pumpkins here, it usually means that it applies around fall time, okay? You can actually say, you know what, it'll probably apply around fall time. Here, you can probably say apply around summertime because that's how it looks, or springtime. All right, same thing here. Usually, water. I don't remember how it's a time, but usually you can look at the pictures, and you can actually use it as a timing. But this is usually about three people coming together and celebrating an accomplishment. They're in celebration mode and they're happy. But then what happens is you get this guy. He's upset. He's not seeing what's in front of him. He can have. It's like he doesn't want any of this. This guy doesn't want this Ace of Cups. He doesn't want the Two of Cups either. He doesn't want these three women. And the spirit guides or the divine is saying, look, we're giving you a cup of love and you're not going anywhere. This is someone who's stuck. Someone who is not really ready to make any kind of a move. Five of Cups. This is someone who didn't make a move. See how this progresses? This is someone who did not make a move. They literally decided, you know what, I'm not going to make a choice. So what happens if you don't make a choice and they're trying to give you a fifth cup? Well, guess what? Three cups will turn over. You're going to lose three opportunities, three options. So that's usually what that means. Sorry, guys. Do something real fast. Something's coming up. It's giving me trouble. So the Five of Cups is about disappointment, okay? But he's not seeing what he has that's still standing because he's too busy worried about what he's lost. If you turn around, he'd see his cups available. This is someone who understood, who got that, who understood, you know what? Give a cup of love to someone, you guys can actually have something very special. This is also about childhood romance. This is about someone who you have a past life romance with, someone that is very much in love. This is a divine counterpart. Seven of Cups is about options, okay? You have all these options. Which way do you want to go? It's about choices, deciding which choice is best. I already made, and sometimes people make the wrong choices, so they don't want to end up here again, and so they stay here sometimes trying to think about the right choice, right? Sometimes you gotta walk away from certain choices that no longer serve you. This is walking away from where you put your emotions. Sometimes it is about ending relationships, but it's also about ending your emotional attachment to a subject or to a thought. Okay, it's about walking away from things that no longer serve you and being okay with it, because you know what's coming and what you have is all you need. You're okay with this. You're happy with this. This is a wish fulfillment card. This is someone who has all his ducks in a row, and he's ready to make and he's sitting there very, very sitting pretty in his accomplishments, I guess you could say. But when I see this card, I generally think it's also a yes card, by the way. So if anybody ever asks, will I meet so and so, or will I meet my new love, you can actually use Nine of Cups as a yes card. Okay, just so you know. Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is about fulfillment, happy, love, family gatherings. It's about getting everything that you've ever wanted. Okay. Go into the court cards, and I right here, and then we'll do the rest at a later tomorrow. I'll get on and do some more. But for right now, I'm going to stop right here. And then I'm going to focus on some of the things I got to do tonight. Okay? All right. You guys take care. Thank you for watching.